Broadcasting live from the town of Chicago on the plainly needing more sleep. This is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Nelson
Hey, I'm here.
and Wheeler.
Oh God, did we never leave? Are we still there?
We're still on the plane.
We are no longer in Chicago, but we will be discussing MagicCon Chicago, where we were last weekend. And although I guess at time of airing last weekend, I don't know. I've had a bit of a blurry week. I'll talk about that in a second. But before I get into it, I want to remind everybody that Tap Tap Concede is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR for all of your cardboard needs. Tell them we sent you. They'll give you a button right now. I knew what it said. And now it's move to Newt step.
Newt button.
Newt. And this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. It was MagicCon Chicago, the largest MagicCon, apparently.
Wow.
Apparently this is the first MagicCon that's actually fully sold out. And you could feel it.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to talk about sort of our experiences, which of course are unique generally, and some other folks' experiences as well, and just generally kind of how the weekend went. Just to mention what I was talking about initially there is that I ended up with a cold afterwards, but I think I brought it with me. I think that like Penelope brought home a cold last week and it didn't affect her. She was like, "Oh, my throat feels kind of scratchy. Oh no, I'm fine." And we were like, "Oh, okay." And then Kathleen was like, "Am I getting a cold?" "No, I'm not. I'm fine." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we're all right." And I was fine. And then being exhausted and yelling through a mask for a day, I think let the cold go. He's weak. Get him. And then on like Saturday night, I was like, "Oh, I don't feel good." And then Sunday was not good, but I, tested extensively. Just a cold. So feeling much better now, which is nice. But
that's the thing that nobody tells you until it happens the first time is you're just like, oh yeah, we can still get sick.
Yeah.
And when we do, because we haven't, people have been extra cautious or they've been in their houses for a while. When it happens, you're like, what? Jesus, was it always this bad? Like, what's going on?
I've gotten sick so much less frequently over the past several years because of stuff like that and, wearing masks at conventions and things. Now when it does happen, it's just like, how was this just a thing that we dealt with every time as a matter of course? This sucks.
Can I interest you in feeling kind of sick all the time? Try children in public school.
Yeah. Apart from that, I had a great time at MagicCon overall. This was like we said, this was the largest MagicCon in terms of attendee number. We had a meet and greet on Friday, which was lovely. We had another one on Sunday. Both of those events were capped. Like the line was capped, I think like some time before it actually started, potentially up to an hour. And I think they had an hour allocated for it, and we ended up going 90 minutes on both of them because we try not to just churn people through. And that was wonderful. Like it was great to meet people and say hi to folks and sign things and all that good stuff. And outside of that, I think this is I think probably because of the attendance, this is the con that I've been stopped for other stuff outside of those meet and greets the most, which which we tell you to do, by the way. Like, that's not a complaint. Because we've always made it clear that it's like, no, this is why we're here. So if you see us, we're not like tanking on a turn in a game, please, you can ask us to sign something. That's totally cool. It happened so much this weekend.
Please do it.
Yeah.
That's why we're there.
Yep.
I was also told multiple times by staff that I am a fire hazard. because when one person does it, it's almost like a signal for other people that, oh, this is okay.
Yeah.
Right.
This flower has pollen.
Yeah, it's like the first. This is not a flattering analogy, and nor is it reflective of how I see people doing this. But it's like a seagull taking the first like little. I'm gonna go grab that piece of bread.
I made them bees. That's notable.
Other birds are like, I'm not doing that. That's got to be poison. Then one gets it, and everyone's like, oh, we can do that. Right? That's what we're supposed to do. And so then everybody flocks, and just that is the most complimentary thing that I think I've been called was a fire hazard, just like the queue of people.
There were lines forming impromptu.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was on Saturday, I think it was. Kathleen was playing a commander game in the free play area, like right around sort of wrap up time. Oh, I guess this would have been Sunday. And I was like, all right, well, I can't start another game or event or anything right now, and I'm at that point I'm feeling pretty tired, so I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna head back. So I say to Kathleen, who's in the middle of a game, like nowhere approaching the end of the game, I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna head back to the hotel. I walk back to the hotel. On my walk, I am like repeatedly corralled for selfies and signing things, which is all great and excellent. I'm not complaining about that. And I get back to the room, go to the bathroom, take my shoes off, and sit down, and Kathleen comes through the door. And I'm like, what the? I just got here. And she's like, how? You left 45 minutes ago. And I was like, it was, yeah. It was great. No, it was, I mean, Kathleen made a tweet about this as well. Just like, my heart was so full after this weekend. It was so great and wonderful to meet everybody. Some people that we'd seen at previous MagicCons, some people that we're seeing for the first time, names we recognized from the comments or the chat. It was really great. Do definitely volunteer your username if you wish to, because it is nice to we do recognize the names, and it is nice to be able to put a face to the name, or at least just go, oh yes, that I recognize that name,
even if you just lurk and maybe sub.
Yeah,
like if we have any way to recognize your name, like we do read your usernames a lot.
Yeah, not to play favorites, but if somebody comes up to me and they're like, hey, do you want to play a game? And it's like end of day, I'm ragged, and it's like I really gotta go to the hospital or whatever. And then somebody's like, oh, okay, well, it was nice to meet you. By the way, I'm this person. And it's like, oh my God, I know who you are. You have been subbed to me for 4 years. I will die for you. It's like I don't know, maybe that shouldn't be my first reaction, but it's the like, oh, no, I know who you are. We're playing this game. Like, let's go. Yeah.
So Chicago, first of all, this is only my second time there. I love Chicago. Really nice. Like I know it gets a reputation, I suppose. I don't know. Chicago's great. Food's good. Actually, this is a random thing. The convention center food offerings, universally bad around the world, by the way, in terms of like cost, for what you get. Not
quality too.
Not as bad. I would say the Chicago Convention Center, stuff like drinks and things are still like ridiculously overpriced. But like I was expecting convention center floor, they had a food truck just in the middle of the convention floor doing hot dogs, and I had expected that to be like $13 US and crap, and it was merely $8.50 US and quite good.
Oh,
I had to pay $10 for a slice of pizza, but it was yummy.
Was it that deep dish?
It was that deep dish, yeah. Deep dish from some pizza place that's just a first name and an apostrophe S. Connie's, maybe? Does that sound right? Joey's? Charlie's? Sure. Anyways.
It's not one of the big two, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Pequod's, right?
Can I use this as my deep dish moment for the podcast?
Please.
Had deep dish pizza for the first time. I don't entirely remember the name offhand of the restaurant that we went to.
Was it one of the two ones that are most recommended?
I
Which is to
don't
say, was it
think
Pequod's
so.
or Lou Malnati's?
Maybe the second one.
All right.
The point is, if I mention it, there's just going to, while it's probably good for engagement, I don't want to have a bunch of Midwesterners popping into my mentions about food. But
why not? Go on.
Well, because then they're going to start mentioning like tater tots and casseroles and hot dishes, and once you get them going, they don't stop. I think I like it better than normal pies, like the deep dish experience.
Normal
It
pizzas?
was deep dish
Norm-
pizza.
Yeah, you like it better than a not deep
Than just
dish
like a
pizza?
normal pizza. Yeah, I think I'm a deep dish convert. Like
I don't. Yeah, I like the idea of getting my like sauce, cheese, toppings ratio to dough, like more in favor of not dough. Like,
yeah,
like, a crust can be good, but I still don't want to eat like lots of crust per piece of cheese. Yeah.
It was an experience that let me be gluttonous but not sloppy, and I feel like that is something that normal pizza, once you hit this glutton threshold, there's like no way you can do it gracefully. But like 2 slices of deep dish, and I was just like, oh yeah, I want a nap. I feel like Pooh Bear with a belly full of honey. Like I'm good. I'm chilling.
I love that you were tentative about like, oh, I don't know if I want to share this opinion because people are going to get in the comments, and the hot take was you like it better than normal pizza.
Yeah, because I mean, maybe I don't have to worry about the Midwesterners, but then there's going to get a bunch of people being like, "I thought you loved Jersey, Ben."
Right.
I'm done. I'm done with this guy.
I think that particular opinion, you'll get even people from Chicago being like, "Really? Okay, huh." I had some great food on the weekend. I went to a hot pot place that was very near the convention center. That was awesome.
Oh, I also had very good hot pot.
Nice.
Here's a fun thing that we did that's completely unrelated to MagicCon. The Spike Feeders were there from Winnipeg, and on the Friday night there was a Winnipeg Jets versus Chicago Blackhawks hockey game. And they were like, "We're going to this hockey game." And so some of us ended up joining them. And so we watched a hockey game. Amusingly, for a Canadian, this may shock listeners at home. This is only the second live hockey game I've ever attended.
Wow.
Yeah. The first was a women's Olympic qualifying match for the 2010 games between China and Finland, and it rocked.
I mean, that's for a first hockey game, that's pretty much like up there as like one of the top ones you could watch. Right?
It was very cool because, of course, this was in Vancouver, so obviously there's a lot of support for Team China, but startlingly a huge Finnish contingent with like their the white wigs with the blue thing. Anyway, go Swomy. Point being, the hockey game was great. The preposterously priced chicken tenders at the thing. Well, Jim from Spike Feeders got chicken tenders, and then there was like 12 people, and it sort of like this murmuration down the line of like, oh, there's tenders, there's tenders, and I'm at the end, so I was like, all right, I'll go get some. Who wants 10? And I came back with like 4 servings of these things. They were delicious. They were way better made and better tasting and like way yummier than like hockey arena chicken tenders should ever have been. So yeah, that was
I
cool.
went to Polly G's on the Saturday night and got, I don't know, just a regular thin crust or something, but then also one slice. We shared one pie of Detroit style, which I don't know if I've really had like real deep dish, because I had the convention deep dish, which was like 2 layers of stuff, and it was like pretty thick, but it was at a convention center. And then I had this Detroit style thing where like the pieces were like smaller and thicker, like it kind of looked like a piece of a brownie. Like
yeah,
that
it's like
was
a
the
granny
shape.
pie.
Yeah. And but all the pizza at Polly G's was delicious. Like it was incredibly good. But I didn't have the like Pooh Bear full of honey experience ever. I never like overate on cheese and then passed out. So I might need to go back to Chicago.
What did go back to Chicago?
What was the thing that we had? So when we landed
White
on
Castle.
Thursday, it
Oh,
was
yeah,
really
We
late.
also went to White Castle for the first time, right?
Oh yeah, we did go to White Castle because it was the only thing that was open that was nearby. But we went to a CVS to get our, weekend's allotment of, like lozenges and various necessary toiletries and snacks
Flat
and
of
things.
water.
What was the name?
So I bought
Sponge. What was the name
of a sponge?
Yeah.
And then I got spicy Doritos.
Mm-hmm.
No, they were Cool Ranch extra hot Doritos.
Cool Ranch mixed with extra hot Doritos.
Yeah.
I know because I had both sponge and the Doritos in the same bite.
Yeah, I
this
remember.
terrible marshmallow forward preserved confection of like a marshmallow on a.
You mean the marshmallow
biscuit.
coconut cookie and strawberry?
Yeah. Which we bought based on the name because it was called Sponge.
It looked fake.
I say
and it
we
tasted
bought
fake.
Wheeler, but it did taste fake. It was very bad. It was. I think Kathleen described it as like like a Lamington had died.
I mentioned it on my stream and just people. I was trying to figure out the name. I couldn't remember it, and I was like, "Scraunch, Sponge," and then people were like, "You mean? Are you talking about Sponge?"
Horrible
like,
snacker.
Oh, it's Sponge. Right? And then
Raging
like handful of people like, "Oh, Sponge mentioned." They're just like so excited.
Yeah. So Sponge isn't good, but we ate it.
No, yeah.
But White Castle was good.
Yeah, White Castle was. We walked past it on the way from our hotel to the CVS, and just the first sign we saw was the clam strips, and I was like, I can't imagine getting something called clam strips from a White Castle. And then the next window had a poster for the shrimp nibblers, and I was like, that's also funny, but it's not as silly as clam strips. But then the third poster in the window was for a cheesy 10 sack, and we were like, all right. Now I'm listening.
Cheesy 10 sack. I liked Ben and I split a cheesy 10 sack with the intention of passing off some amount of these burgers to Krim, the Asian Avenger.
Yeah,
because we figured that he'll eat it. We come to him and go, hey little guy,
you want the rest? You want the rest
of
a burger?
Cheesy
10 sack?
And I think that. I don't think White Castle enjoys how you should consume these, because I think the best course of action would have been eat 2, then wait like 20 minutes and eat a third and then call it quits. Instead of what Ben and I did, which was like eat 2 and then walk extra fast to sit down at the hotel lobby to then eat another 2 to 3 and then forget about the 10th burger in my hotel room.
Oh, good.
They were good though. They were good. I'll tell you that. I did have a fever dream afterwards though. I had a White Castle fueled dream. It was wild. If you'll indulge me very quickly.
Sure.
In this dream is myself, James, and Ben. Okay. We are walking down Foul Bay Avenue towards where the liquor store is in the Save-On complex. This is all incredibly regional.
For anyone not from here, it's not remotely weird that there's a road called Foul Bay. We just accept that. Obviously, if you say it in a vacuum, it sounds weird that someone would ever name a road after this bay, which is called Foul Bay. Obviously,
I haven't thought about it that way.
Obviously, that sounds terrible, right? But for locals, it's like, oh yeah, it's Foul Bay. That's the name of it. It's not weird. Carry on.
So long story short, they're holding a GP at this liquor store.
Like in the Dairy Queen? Oh, the liquor store.
No, in the liquor store, the BCLA.
Okay.
And James, I am wearing very large, oversized boots, and I am really struggling to walk at a reasonable pace. Ben is wearing gigantic, like, stilettos with the heels being daggers and is struggling to walk. But honestly, he's serving a little bit.
Nice.
And James is lying on a levitating couch that is way too fast for us. And we keep going like, James, dude, let us on. And he's like, no. And it's like, no, okay, well, then at least let Ben on. I mean, I could maybe get here, but he's struggling. He's like, no. And that's it. That's it. Thanks for indulging. I know listening to dreams isn't exactly the most exciting thing, but like,
no, that was great.
it was so vivid.
Wow.
James, this is what it's like.
I
also,
I recall on Friday that I had vivid dreams on the Thursday night, but I don't remember any of them now. But I remember telling Kathleen about one of them. Maybe she'll remember, but it was
it's
wild.
the White Castle.
Yeah. Oh my God. I hadn't even considered this.
I had
so
Impossible
anyway,
Burgers. I only had 2. It was fine.
So, back to MagicCon.
Oh yeah.
If we must.
If we must. We've now been to several of the various MagicCons in various places. This not just because of the sheer number of attendance, but this one needed more space. Like this one felt like half the physical space of Vegas. I don't know if maybe that's accurate or not, but
I felt like 2/3, but yeah.
Yeah, there was sort of like a lobby area, not lobby, but there was like you come across this sky bridge from the main convention center, which was empty, by the way. There was
Not on
no
the Friday, right?
no, all weekend. There was nothing in the main convention center because we walked through it to get to the lakeside convention center building, wherever this place was. We get across the sky bridge. There's one main sort of room with a bunch of free play tables and the Pro Tour just right there out in the open. The community panel room is off to one side. The Black Lotus Lounge is off to one side. And then through the doors in the air wall is the main floor with the artist alley and the dealer's tables and the main stage and the show store and the tournament area and the command zone and more free play. And it's all just in one space. And the layout is bad. Like it's difficult to navigate. There's not enough like width to like throw your elbows around. And the because it's all sort of like packed in, anytime there was anything particularly exciting on the main stage, such as I'm thinking specifically of game nights, which I was watching and was amazing. It was they can't keep getting away with this. It was a nail biter of a game. It was so good. Like I was talking to them afterwards and they're like, I don't know how these games keep coming down to such an amazing, because despite allegations, they are not scripted.
I blame Richard Garfield.
Like one of these days they're going to have, because you have non-games in Commander, right? Where someone just like goes, oh wait, I have a win, and just wins after like half an hour. Like presumably that's going to happen. They'd probably think that was great, but this was like just high drama nail biter that apparently rendered the rest of the tournament area useless. Like people were there was a main event PTQ, and I saw someone in the someone giving feedback that the players couldn't like verbally communicate during 2 rounds of the PTQ because of game nights, because it was so loud, because it was like the main stage, the bag pickup, the prize wall, and the tournament area. And the bag pickup and the prize wall are not large enough to stop all of that wall of noise from, hundreds of people, standing room only, watching this amazing game of Commander
and cheering about it.
Yeah,
like enormous whales of cheering. Yeah,
I beg of some more sensible mapping.
Yeah, it's weird. After Vegas, I was like, I really don't like that it was 2 rooms. I felt like I couldn't find my friends. I felt like I was disconnected from the con wherever I went. But maybe the 2-room thing has an advantage, right? If you get all the ticketed play on one side and the main stage on the other side, then
I loved the 2 rooms. But yeah,
did you love the 2 rooms? Yeah, maybe that is the gold standard. Then maybe I should get better at it.
The show store, the official show store, had a oppressive lineup. Like coming up on 2 hours, I think, at certain points.
Somebody said they were in line for 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel for the people in the 75K and even the Pro Tour that could hear them.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they should have capped it at 10K instead of letting it up to 12K. And like gotten a slightly bigger place. Because that's a lot. I could not talk. Like anytime they would cheer, I could not talk loud enough. And I'm not a quiet man. But like with a mask on and I'm yelling and the person I'm talking to is still like, what? Hold on. We have to wait. Somebody resolved like a true conviction. Just give me a second. And God bless them. Like it's tough because every criticism that I have and that I have seen about this convention and everything is one that also is an overall great sign for how much these conventions mean to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like getting to say this live Magic event was so popular that everybody was packed in that and then the game of Commander that was like on the main stage had so many people screaming and applauding that the play for $75,000 and the Pro Tour were impacted. Like, there was a time where we thought we wouldn't get any of this.
Yeah.
And now we're back to it. And that part is at least heartwarming. It's just if we could find a spot where the players that already held some animosity to Commander players, mostly due to their takes on Twitter, aren't now holding them over the loss of holding that animosity over the loss of a round because they didn't hear their opponent announce a trigger or whatever.
Yeah. I think that and the thing is, like, I think that there will be improvement because what we've seen both publicly and behind the scenes over the course of MagicCon's development since the original Magic 31 is that to the discredit, I suppose, of Reed, who does the organization for these things, is that they seem to only be reactive to things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in their defense, they are reactive, right? So at least there's that. But there's not like, oh, we've sold out, so maybe we should think about doing this weekend differently in this way. No, it's like, oh, we sold out. Oh, and it caused these problems. Okay, well, next time we'll do this, right? So like, I'm expecting that, what's the next one? Amsterdam? I'm expecting Amsterdam is going to have some sort of solution for the lineup at the show store, or like whatever. Like they're going to take all these complaints on board and figure out ways to mitigate them. Would have been nice if they'd sort of seen some of this coming.
Yeah, full disclosure. I think I came to the even before this weekend. I think I came to the end point of that Vegas sucked. Like I'll be mask off. My opinions are not necessarily the reflection of the Loading Ready Run Corporation. But yeah. I think Vegas stunk. I think it was real bad.
The most recent Vegas?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think it was quite possibly my least favorite MagicCon experience lifetime.
Oh wow.
And to go from that to genuinely a soul nourishing event, like a MagicCon so good that I am happy. That's not a thing I am, Graham. But like it's wild. It's just and to see that reflected in the players too. Like the only criticisms that I've heard personally from players outside of the noise that we talked about is that they just wanted more room.
Yeah.
Like there were so many people playing Magic that not everybody could play Magic all the time.
Yeah.
They just wanted more room to play Magic against like new friends they made, right?
Yeah.
Like
the criticisms that I heard as well, and there's a thread about this in the Discord. We were asking folks, there was not enough place to play Magic because there were too many people who wanted to play Magic. It was loud because people were too excited about Magic.
Yeah.
It was hard to spend money on Magic things because there were too many people who wanted to spend money on Magic things. It was hard to get things signed because there were too many people excited to see the people that were excited to see. Like it's all that, like these are all solvable problems because they're all like they're all like coming from a positive place, if that makes sense, right? Like it's like, yeah, we need more space, we need more tables, we need more to we were talking before we started recording actually that like it seems like, you know, Reed, who have done this sort of thing before, uh don't quite have it that like MagicCon is fundamentally different from other conventions because Magic players will arrive in the morning, be there until the end of the day, and they want to be there. It's people don't like cycle in and out over the course. No, they're there. They want to be there, and they want space to play Magic.
Yeah, right. MagicCon's not a museum, right?
Yeah,
it's like a work shift. It's overtime for everybody.
Yeah, you want to accommodate people playing Magic. So there was an interesting breakdown actually that James linked to on the subreddit of someone doing a like pure by the numbers.
Oh yeah.
On the legendary VIP experience of like what the costs were, what the product received was, what the like, you know, like the intangible values and everything. And it's if you have the money, reminder, we are provided our badges for free. And we appreciate that, but obviously that puts us in a different position. But if you have the money for that, it seems like it's worth. If you're someone who's already going to spend like $500 on Magic stuff, they were talking about how they got two VIP passes and entered into the Clue thing and the Mystery Booster box. Sorry, Mystery Booster full box 2-headed giant and a Ravnica remastered event.
God, that sounds so good.
And all of that together was over $1,000. And then they listed a table of all the free stuff that they received in addition to all that stuff that they registered for, and it's also over $1,000. And then also you get discounts at the merch store, and you get, you know, the lounge where there's snacks.
They got to skip a line or two, like shorter, you know, line for this.
Sort of
match.
like, oh, that's pretty cool. But the, you know, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to shill for that for the legendary thing. I'm just I know that in the past, certainly at the first Vegas Magic 30, it was like, is this worth?
Oh,
and
yeah.
they've clearly been they've been making it worth, I guess is the point.
Should we talk about the Magic that we actually played?
Yeah, I played so little. Go for it.
I played a bunch of Magic. Yeah, sure.
Nelly was running the tables.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get in and meet people, you know, like they gave us, I will say for this con, and I think every con that I've been to now, so this is number 4. I think our handlers or the people, you know, whoever's in charge of it, has been giving us a little bit less scheduled time each time. Like, so we had 2 meet and greets. That's been the same in all of them, which makes sense. And then just 2 other events that we're supposed to be in. So we had all of us were in the LRR Presents Chaos, and all of us were in Gavin's Unknown event on Sunday. And then those 4 meetings were the only thing that everyone from Ready Run was committed to. Everybody else had their own things. But for me, my only other thing was saying, hey, I want to play Canadian Highlander with y'all. So Friday, I did that a bunch, I believe. Yes. Although I woke up late, had the signing to run to, and then when I got there, realized I didn't have my bag. So I spent 45 minutes getting from the convention hall back to the hotel just because I was getting lost for, you know, for your sanity. Like you were getting queues forming and people were asking for so many selfies that Kathleen caught up with you on an earlier part of the story. But I also just got lost in the maze.
The signing stage also was impossible to find.
Graham and I spent like 20 minutes, it felt like, trying to find the stage, asking everyone and getting different answers.
Yeah, it was nobody could explain. Sorry, Nelly. No one could explain properly. They're like, it's in the back of the hall. And it's like, what? No, it's in the middle of the hall. What? No. It's like, it's to the left of this thing. And it's like, from what position? Eventually, because I was telling Nelly, I was like, all right, if you are standing in front of the show store, facing the show store, turn completely around, and then it will be right in front of you. Because
And
someone
then
was
you'll
trying to say,
encounter the Sphinx, and then you have to answer.
well, because someone was trying to say it is to the left of the show store, but they meant from the position of if you're coming in the door.
Yeah.
But if you're facing the show store, the main stage is on the left of the show store. It was.
Oh my.
Yeah, the layout could have been better. It was also like quite close to the food courts. Like there was a food court and a bar. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but like right in the middle, which
I never made use of that. I should
right.
have.
Like if you're anywhere you were, you just walk towards the center of the room and you could get a pretzel for $9. But
Christ, get a hot dog at that point.
Yeah, but if you put them on the side, maybe there's more room for tables. So anyways, so yeah, I played a bunch of Canadian Highlander in the ticketed play. Oh right. After our signing, it was like, Wheeler, I'll meet you in the command zones. Like Wheeler and Ben and Serge maybe all, I think, wanted to play Canadian Highlander. Yeah. And I was like, okay, meet you in the command zone. So I had to go back to the hotel to get my deck because I had forgotten it because I woke up at like 10:30, having the first sleep in months or whatever that my kids didn't wake me up screaming from. And so then I like come back. It's an hour later now. I'm looking for my friends. I case the entire command zone. It is completely full. There are other people watching. The occasional judge is also just like taking a look at Commander games. Maybe there's friends like, leaning on the tables, watching these games. I say hi, I sign a card or two, but I've cased the entire orange tables of the command zone and none of my friends are anywhere to be seen. So I just start doing bigger concentric circles from there. Cause I'm like, then maybe they met at the command zone and couldn't find a seat. And sure enough, yeah, in the like tan ticketed play area next to the command zone, I find Wheeler or Surgeon Bet. I don't even know where you ended up that day, Wheeler. Probably
I'm trying to remember.
You probably were just at a different part of the hall where there was a single chair for you to sit in.
I literally, this might be the Sunday meet and greet, but I remember getting up at the meet and greet. I'm on the left side of the table, right? And it's like, oh, you guys are going over there? Like, yeah, I want to play some Commander. I haven't played Commander all weekend or whatever.
Right.
And in an attempt to go from one side of the table to the other side of the table, I ended up signing and or taking photos with 21 people, and everybody was gone. I was just like, where am I? What time is it?
Yeah, so I find my rest of the crew, play Commander there, or sorry, Canadian Highlander there until we're getting kicked out. And then actually we had the party that night, the like official party, if we want to talk about that. So House of Blues.
That Friday?
That was Friday. Yeah, that was Friday. House of Blues,
the whole
pretty cool venue. It's on like
it's an amazing venue,
right near the bridges, the river going through Chicago, which I didn't know on the Friday because I just took a dark Uber, and had that cool conversation with BDM about pre-modern. Shout out BDM. Nice. But this venue is kind of sweet. It's like extremely vertical. So you walk in, you go up, you can check your code if you want, and there was karaoke, and like. The karaoke was like, I don't know. I want to say it was pretty well done. I'm not sure how bad the queue time was. Probably it was really long, but like you could hear the person singing. There was places to sit. You could sing along if you wanted to.
I missed that completely.
Yeah, so that was on the floor.
That was on the lowest level.
Yes.
And I didn't realize there was anything on the lowest level.
The event really wants you to walk up that first flight of stairs on the right-hand side, and then you get out onto this like what would you call it? Like 3-story theater area with a huge dance floor and like a stage, but that had a DJ. And there was like good lighting or like sort of DJ lighting, and fellow MagicCon attendees dancing. And there was also like a murder mystery element, like a scavenger hunt activity you could do, which was sort of an excuse to like check out all of the rooms. And there were boxes that we had on the top floor that you could sit and watch the DJ or hang out at. So that event was pretty cool. I don't know. I thought in terms of like garnering, like creating an experience that feels maybe it's unique to Chicago. I've never been to a bar that looks like that before. So
after the DJ was the opener for the headliner, which was a pretty like heavy EDM group as it was described to me. Okay. Apologies if that's not actually their genre. Right. Named Grumgully.
Oh.
Because they're like, it's like a spin-off of another equally nerdy group, and they're just Magic fans, so they called this project Grumgully after the mushroom friend.
Right.
And because I think you might have left before they hit the stage. That music was hefty.
Right. So I'm not sure who the DJ was. I heard, but yeah, I was there for like an hour. Like it was. I sort of felt like I wasn't sure entirely where to be, and I didn't quite know how to dance or found I don't know, a pocket to dance with that was inviting for me or whatever, to just my own taste. So
The
that
DJ was
party,
doing a
like,
lot of
I
mashups.
showed up. Okay, fair. I mean, I like DJ mashups.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah.
Love mashups.
But yeah, I stuck around for an hour, and I thought it was like pretty well put together.
It was funny. I was poking around in the upper reaches of the place, and I went into a room, and there's like this tiny little like speakeasy room, and I walk in, and someone's like, "Hello, welcome to the pipe room," and I'm like,
Oh.
"The what?" And then he gestures, and there's a like this massive poster of the lead pipe on an easel. He's like, "The pipe," and I was like, "Oh, for the scavenger hunt. Okay, I see." And you could get I didn't bother, but you could get, like, if you did the whole scavenger hunt thing, you could get Murders at Karlov Manor product, like collector boosters and stuff for doing this whole scavenger hunt.
It was a Magic event, so there were Magic cards there.
Yeah, exactly. There was people attempting to anyway.
Yeah. And then so yeah, Saturday we had our Chaos sealed / draft. I think. Yeah, I think I got in 1 or 2 games of. Oh no, that morning, Wheeler, you had your podcast live, and I remember because right before I saw a little bit of it, I snuck in a game of Commander. I played Nelly Borka for the first time.
Oh yeah,
and I won that game. Actually, shout out to my table at the Black Lotus Lounge. That deck is pretty fun. It's like you have a bunch of cards that kind of keep you from not dying. Sort of think like. It's got sort of a reverse damage kind of a vibe to, like, there's a Gideon Sacrifice, which like keeps you alive for a turn. It doesn't have an Angel's Glory, but like those sorts of cards where it's like, okay, I'm going to put my stuff out, and then even if you Wrath, I might not die from your like follow-up haste attack or whatever, because I have spells that keep me alive instant speed. The card I was the most impressed with, though, is Trouble in Pairs. This is a 2 and white enchantment that I think is new from this deck, and it basically just draws you 10 cards a turn. Right. It says it doesn't let other players take extra turns, which is cool. And then it says whenever an opponent attacks you with 2 or more creatures, which won't happen that often, draws their second card each turn, which happens on every opponent's turn, or casts their second spell each turn, which happens on every opponent's turn and sometimes also twice. You draw a card. So it's like this card's going to draw you 6 cards typically every turn cycle. That's like, I would say, the average in my experience in Commander.
Gross.
Yeah, it was disgusting. Yeah, I just had like a million cards in hand. I was discarding to hand size. I never found my Soul Ring or anything. I wasn't like powering tons of other stuff out, but I did just always have like, okay, this is my best creature, or I'll play another enchantment that helps my position. Yeah, this card's pretty gross. If you don't have one for Commander, watch out. It's gonna get you. Yeah, do you want to talk about your podcast? Graham and I were both there. I had fun. It was well received for sure.
Yeah.
On Saturday, for the second time, we did a live podcast for Shivam and Wheeler Live Magic, or Shivam and Wheeler Love Magic. This time around, or last time we did it, was in Vegas with Gavin Verhey as our special guest, and we talked about Battle Bond. This time we had Chris Mooney as our special guest, and we talked about New Capenna Commander. And I want to say this right now, legitimately didn't realize the whole New Capenna Chicago link until 2/3 of the way through. Somebody pointed it out, and I'm like, what do you mean?
I just realized now.
Yeah, but Chris was the lead basically on the entire project for that, I believe. Not trying to miscredit if that's not the case. That's just what was in my brain. It was great. We were on time. Chris and I did a crack-a-pack that was like an hour, so we were a little worried that this would be, not great content, or like trying to fit 3 hours of talking into 1 hour of stuff. And that's not even factoring Shivam and I, who
I like that you and Shivam had to make sure that each other person wouldn't jump in with outside anecdotes.
Yep. Yeah, we got to keep each other under wraps here.
Yeah.
That Crack-a-Pack was like back when Chris was here for the PPR, right?
Yes.
Yes, the LRR Crack-a-Pack, not on the same podcast. Yeah. Okay.
No,
we
for
had to put up an
the
extended
WoW
version on the YouTube channel.
Right.
You can watch it if you want.
And yeah, we had 143 or 145 people was like the tally from the MagicCon staff member that was thankfully doing that. And it was wild to do so. It is incredible how many more people will show up when you actually advertise where the room is.
Oh.
You advertise that these are happening.
Yeah.
And that, you know, it isn't just a blank door that on one side, where if you are in Vegas, the panel room was like, the hallway you had to walk down to get to it. The door that was facing the walkway literally had staff only written on it.
No admittance, right?
Yeah,
like it was like, don't
was
come this way.
It was
wild.
also
But
just
this
a badly lit hallway.
Yeah. But this was great. This was, and it was like a proper like a
theater,
lecture
like a university hall. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Very heartwarming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sunday, actually, the Chaos event, I should say, was super fun. We ran it like we did before. If you haven't seen the vlogs over on the Graham Stark Vlogs YouTube channel, you can see the ones for previous Magic Cons there. And it was a completely just wild, bizarre event. My opponent cast an Eater of Days, and I bounced it.
Oh no!
Oh
yeah.
Holy! Well, why were they? I gotta say, you know, they kind of did this to themselves.
They knew what they were doing. They were they were like, well, let's see how this goes. For those keeping score at home, it's a 4-mana flying trample 9/8. But when it comes into play, you skip your next 2 turns. I'm sorry, when it enters. We big news from the weekend is that they're retemplating enters the battlefield to simply enters.
We've come a long way, Eater of Days.
Wheeler's grimacing at the rules change.
Yeah, I won't talk about. I imagine we'll talk about this on some other podcast. But in my opinion, if you have to make a change like that removes this flavor and the evocative nature of like entering a battlefield, right? In order to accommodate more space on cards, so you can fit more words, put less words on cards.
Yeah.
Like you should not trade the quality of the game and the experience just to get 2 more words. Basically 1.5. The is whatever. Like just maybe cut ward 5,000 from one of these rares. Or like, I don't know, maybe something doesn't need lifelink when it's already a giant vigilance trampling flyer that also draws you 8 cards. Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind.
That's a fair take, especially for newer players. The word battlefield was something that we had to adjust to, right? So it's like,
enters what?
That work.
Does the thing, and if it goes to the graveyard, is it entering the graveyard?
No, they said that.
Yeah,
but you're right. We should probably.
What about combat? Am I entering combat? Like,
no, you're passing to the attack step.
Right, but like people don't know that.
Also, they said that they can't. That they're not changing leaves the battlefield to leaves because that's too confusing.
No. Oh, good. Inconsistency in terminology. I love it.
So huge shout out.
Absolutely love it.
Huge shout out to Pharmacist Judge and the other judges running our Chaos Draft event. We did have fun. There wasn't Eater Days. There were tons of cool cards opened in various different packs. However, I need to point out that this event was very much MagicCon Chicago. Like when the event was about to start, it was clear that there were not enough tables next to each other. There was no area in ticketed play that was like going to fit this event due to the event being completely sold out and like this sort of lack of planning, right? Like there was a bit of a misstep somewhere.
I think a couple
in
pods
the TO.
had to move after the draft round.
Yeah, so we managed to fit everybody onto a table kind of close to each other, but we were like up against other events on each side, right? And so there was like the draft. My draft got to stay where they were to build, and then we ended up playing on those tables. But were either of you in a pod that had to move at some point?
Mine didn't have to move, but I know that one or two of them did.
I was in a Highlander game that had to move.
Well, yeah, that was in Highlander games that moved all weekend.
We also they didn't give us a microphone, which they've done previously. So Min had to just yell, which was a challenge because like even
not
yelling,
could hear him. Yeah.
We couldn't hear it, so he had to do it twice at different. So hopefully next time that will be better, and hopefully next time we can also, add more seats. We keep asking for more seats because I know that the Chaos Draft sells out. So
I talked to 3 people who tried to sign up for the Chaos Draft for each person that I hang out with and get to talk to at the Chaos Draft. Yeah. They're just like, oh yeah, I'm doing this because I tried to sign up for this, but I was 3 minutes later than the con tickets opened, and so I didn't get to buy an LRR Chaos Draft ticket.
Is there an issue where it's also just kind of like tied to the amount of us that's there? Because we try to get one of us into every pod. Oh, I guess we're doing like pods of 16, right? So then that's probably fine.
Yeah.
Because like that's something that I think we're trying to maintain, right? Is the idea of like if you sign up, there will be at least one LRR member in your pod.
That's a good point. That I think I guess that is sort of like a limiting factor.
I say that, but if we have, a hefty amount of us there, right? We had 6.
Was there 7 of us, right?
7.
There's 3 of us, Kathleen,
7 of us,
James, Ben, and Serge.
Yeah. Right. Serge, Alberta. But like if there's 7 or 8 of us for 16 people, like that's not nothing.
No.
Still, but yeah, the more the merrier. We just have to recruit people to be honorary LRR members.
I think we just got to figure out a system where we mingle a little bit, like Gavin does at the Unknown event, which we all did on Sunday morning.
Right.
This was super fun. So if you're not aware, the Unknown event is like it's a very silly sort of chaos style event. The last couple, Gavin seems to have settled on the best of 1v1 60 card commander.
Brawl.
Limited commander. I guess he calls it commander, but I guess it is brawl, isn't it?
Brawl. Sealed commander.
Sealed brawl,
it's like brawl, yeah.
It was 2 packs of Mystery Booster, 2 packs of Murders at Karlov Manor, a collector booster of Karlov Manor, and
another collector booster of Karlov Manor?
No, it was something else. Wait, maybe it was 2 collector
Misty
boosters.
Boosty.
No, it was 2 Misty Boosty.
2 Misty Boosters.
Oh,
2 MKM.
2 MKM.
Collector booster. And what was the 6th thing? Was it another set?
Maybe it was just 2 collector boosters. I think you're right.
It wasn't like LCI.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, and the playtest cards. And this time, the playtest cards that he designed were all inspired by various Magic content creators, none of whom knew this was happening. So it was a big surprise, which was really cool. And I got to be one of them. They did the card, the Bear Force Pilot. So a legendary 1 and a green for a 2/2. And when it enters the battlefield, it's the creature type is Bear Pilot, because Pilot is a creature type in Magic. And when it enters the battlefield, you make a vehicle. It doesn't actually, someone was asking, they're like, what's the power toughness of the vehicle? You make a vehicle that we assume is a 0/0 that it gets +1/+1 for, I'm just pulling up a picture of the card now. It gets +1/+1 for each bear you control, and it crews for 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's a colorless artifact vehicle token with flying.
Okay.
And which
fixed looter scooter, to be honest.
Yeah, it's Bear Force 1, which is great. And there was ones for Kibler and Olivia and Prof and Foxy and
Sam and Chase.
Lots of folks. Yeah, it was really cool. I ended up actually using prof or the scholar of the seas as my commander because it's in 3 colors. It's 1 blue, white, green for a merfolk advisor. I guess I don't know what the other creature type would be. Whatever makes the most sense.
I think it was advisor. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a 2/2, and it gives other merfolk +1/+1. And then when it enters the battlefield, you create a token that's a copy of a one of 5 random merfolk, each of which is also a merfolk lord. So like Lord of Atlantis or Marrow Regery or I can't remember Kumena or 2 others that I don't remember the names of.
I had to fight against this.
Judge
Someone
of
used this in
Currents.
Commander. Judge of Currents. Yeah, I ran into Judge of Currents. Yeah, they weren't all lords, but they were random.
I thought they were. Okay. All the ones I encountered also gave merfolk +1/+1, so it was like these are both 3/3s. Anyway, a super fun event as always. I think they said 600 players. Was that correct?
It was huge. Yes. Huge. Yeah, 600 sounds right. I found my seat after walking through what felt like the entire convention hall.
Yeah.
And I asked one of the judges or Gavin if this had like 1,000 or 4,000 people in it or something. And someone was like 600. Wild. Calm down, Nelly, but still 600 for like a goofy side event sealed. Well, honestly, 600 for an event that requires that like a bunch of judges and Gavin himself probably as well still are just like stickering all of these cards like the day before or the night before, just like getting this event ready by hand, making the cards for us with their 2 little mitts, like kudos. Thank you so much.
Oh, sweet. Paul found one that I signed.
Nice.
Excellent.
I opened Keebler's card. Or Kibler's card, sorry. It's Naya and 2 generic for a 3/2 human legendary dragon with flying. And whenever a dragon or a dog enters the battlefield, create a token copy of Armadillo Cloak and attach to it. So it's like a 5-mana 5/4 flying trample lifelink.
So messed up.
Which is great and right up my alley, but I didn't have great fixing. And I also opened Aurelia, so I'm not playing that. But if I had opened any dog walkers, I think I probably just would have gone the splash route. Because it's like if you can get your there's the Reed Dukes card as well. Nice. If you can get your Brian Kibler card out and then flip a dog walker, that's like very scary.
The once you completed your 3 rounds, didn't matter if you win or lose. You completed all 3 rounds, you got a card which was Gavin's called the Collector. There it is. That's Wooburg. And whenever you cast a signed spell or play a signed land, copy it. And a signed card is a card signed by its artist, designer, or someone else it is strongly associated with. In this case, all these different content creators. And you can discard a signed card to do whatever the solved unknown event puzzle says.
And the text on the playtest cards had like single words on the bottom in the flavor text.
Yeah.
But I didn't solve the puzzle.
Shoot, someone did, and it was on the subreddit, and I can't remember what the solution was.
That's Olivia's card, I guess. I haven't actually looked at this one. It makes 2 scraps, and then you can sacrifice the scrap to make an equipment called Bling. Incredible.
It was, oh shoot. It was something to do with signed cards again. Oh, destroy target creature with a 5-letter or fewer card name length difference from the person who signed the discarded card.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think. Like whatever. These are silly.
Yeah.
You mentioned walking around. I really like the convention center here so it was chilly, not as cold as we were told it might be, but again we are Canadian. It did snow rather horrendously on the Saturday night.
The snow and wind were different than we're used to.
Or on the Friday, sorry.
I still feel lied to.
Yeah.
Weather and temperature discourse is always just stupid and regional and all that, but really it was such a you don't understand. If you don't have an ocean next to you, it's not that bad.
But the
Michigan's close. Yeah.
What I liked, because it was quite warm in the convention hall, but we could leave all our bulky coats and whatever at the hotel and get there wholly indoors because we were staying at the Marriott.
Good.
You didn't know this?
Did you go
No.
outside to get? Really?
I went outside every time.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
there was a whole
skyways
skywalk
from the second floor of our hotel.
You could skywalk from our hotel to the Hyatt and then across to the convention center.
I actually never figured out where the convention center was, like on the streets.
No.
I stayed on the skyways the whole time.
You could just follow the signs for the
No, yeah.
I saw
Yes.
that.
The dental MagicCon show.
MagicCon.
There was a dental convention in one of the hotels that you pass through to get from where we were staying to there. So there was it was the Chicago Dental Association midwinter meeting. Someone said there was I don't know, tens of thousands of dentists.
Oh yeah,
it was wild.
I would be unsurprised if there were 20,000.
You think somewhere in the world there's another podcast being recorded by 3 dentists?
I hope
they
so.
just had the exact tap crowning or something. And they're having this chat.
They're like, there were so many Magic players.
So many Magic players.
Just kept using our food court, wandering through our hall.
Yeah.
With their backpacks and their hoodies. Yeah.
It is nice seeing generally that the obviously there's some people grumping about valid complaints, but generally speaking, the feedback that we've seen from folks online is that there were some issues largely related to the fact that there were so many people there, but overall it was a super fun weekend for the attendees, which is the most important part. We had a great time, but we have a different experience than most of you, so it's generally we're going to have a pretty good time at these things, but I'm pleased to hear that so many of you wonderful folks also had a good time, and it was really great to see you and get to do photos and sign cards and stuff. Boy, I signed a lot of Ayulas this weekend.
Yeah,
which is
great. I kept a very strict definition of eggs, but I counted every egg that I signed.
Oh yeah,
I got up to 168. With 169 being Min, pharmacist judge, actually drove us to the airport. And I mentioned that the 168, and he's like, I got a golden egg in my backpack if you want. And I'm like, no, if you want me to, I will, but I don't want you to do this for my sake.
We're not manufacturing.
I want to keep honest here. I want to earn that egg.
Terrific. What do you commonly get asked to sign, Nelly?
Oh, I don't know that I have anything in particular. People do like me to sign swamps. I think I've signed some hypnotic specters. People like it if I sign their trash black cards.
Nice.
And I'm here for it. I signed a bunch of grave titans,
but
my most common interaction, I think, is just like, hey, Nelly, can you sign my playmat or my deck box? Or here's my commander deck that I'm trying to get signed by people I like. Pick any card. I'm not selling them. You can pick the expensive cards. Doesn't matter. Pick any card and I'll sign that card.
I love to vandalize people's cards because they're so into it. Not just signing. Somebody came up with a really beat to crap Scrubland, and they're like, "Can you sign the Scrubland? I bought it because of Canadian Highlander, etc." And I'm like, "Yeah, can I write something on it?" And they're like, "Absolutely, please." Yeah. So I wrote Canadian Near Mint.
Oh, I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was a horrific looking Scrubland.
Yes,
it was great. It was beautiful. That's there are cathedrals everywhere, Graham. You just need to.
Sam would be proud
to find them.
Terrific. All right. Well, hey, that was MagicCon for us at least. If you were there, what was your weekend like? Let us know in the comments. But until next time. It has been a pleasure, and I will remind you that the show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR, and it is also brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Nelson.
It was so great to meet all you wholesome, wonderful people of MagicCon Chicago.
And Wheeler.
Thank you for having me, Chicago. It was great to be there.
Paul's been running tech today. Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.